Welcome back to the channel, and today's episode is going to be a little different. So not a ton to do on the boat and jet ski right now. I'm waiting on parts for the jet ski so I can get everything on that one to be road legal, lights, tail lights, different things like that. Just kind of finishing touches, and paint is probably going to be up for that one here in the next couple weeks. So today's episode is actually going to be on some more of, I don't say maintenance and daily cars and whatnot, but this car right here was a 2007 Dodge Magnum. Has a Chrysler 300 front end on it. I'm not a huge fan of the front end, but it was there when I bought the car. This has kind of been one of those cars that's, I bought it, it was supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be a good daily, and it only ever gave me problems. So I am currently on the third motor, and if I can find the hood latch. So it's a 5.7 currently now. So a couple months ago I rebuilt the motor. It is a 5.7 block, 6.1 intake, forged rods and pistons with a D1 Pro Charger on it. Make it about 12 pounds, and it made just over 600 horsepower. Now the problem was we started running out of fuel and the higher boost levels on the dyno. So we tried to band-aid a couple things to get to an event and not run it super hard. However, for some reason, so on the dyno it had a Warble 400 pump in it. I knew it was questionable if that was going to be enough. It wasn't. So then we stopped, we put a Warble 450 in it. It did not solve the problem, which then pretty much led me up to, I need a whole new fuel system for it. It needs, basically I'm gonna go with like a four Innovations dual pump feed return line system, everything like that. It needs it to support the power, and I'll probably put another pulley on it and turn it up a little bit. But we got done with the event, and I don't know, 2-3 weeks later, for some reason just wouldn't start. Like I drove it the night before, came back, would not start, and it seems like I have no fuel pump. So I'm going to be diving into figuring out why the fuel pump in this thing doesn't work, so I can start driving it again, and then get that other fuel system in it so that we can actually make some good power on this. This thing, said I feel like it should be right around 650 when I'm done with it. So I know it's not boat content, but I'm probably also going to jump into, I got to fix the daily. Daily has no heat, so I don't know if I'll include that in this, and I got to flush the heater core and whatnot and figure out why this wonderful flaking 260,000 mile E46 wagon, black interior and manual though, get this thing working better. So let me jump into it. So this is an interesting one. Wanted to start working on it, wanted to go check some things, put the key in, heard the fuel pump fire. Fuel pump has not been kicking off. So now it had a dead battery from sitting for the last month and a half or so, drained somewhere, still got to figure that out. So put jumper cables on it with the truck. I'm gonna see if I get lucky for some reason and she decides to start now or not. If it does, that could be super easy, but it still makes me question why. So I'm gonna check wiring and everything like that if I do get it started. So yeah, unsure. fuel pump didn't turn on again then. Turned on for the crank, or for the initial key in, but then as soon as it tried to start, it just shut off. So I got to figure out why that's doing that, and those other two pops were just using whatever fuel was still in it. So I got to figure out why that's not staying on. All right, so I ran a jumper wire from the relay to directly to the battery, but then I was in here changing some things around with the wiring, and the pump came on. So it seems like there's something up with the wiring. So I put the relay back in, and we're gonna give it another go. Made jokes about drifting a boat. I do own a Dodge too. I know those jokes will be there. All right, I'm gonna figure out where that wiring issue is so that it doesn't keep happening. I'm gonna go for a drive quick, make sure this thing is good to go. Because that was honestly a quicker fix than I thought it was going to be. But, I mean, once you fix something, you got to make sure it works, right? I did forget to say this thing has exhaust cutouts. So, you can go from decently quiet, it's still pretty loud, to making it pretty obnoxious. I'm stoked because clearly that works again, and that thing sat, like I said, for like a month and a half, 2 months, not working because fuel pump wasn't turning on. So I don't know if something was loose that I couldn't find or something in the wiring, but I pulled all the wiring, checked everything, like took all the tape off of it, and then I ended up retaping it. So everything looks good, but it's worked for all that. So at this point I couldn't find a problem. So that probably means it's going to be future Brandon's problem, and it'll come back. But for now, that thing's working, so I can daily drive that a bit again. It is winter, so clearly traction's an issue, but I also haven't been getting on it 100%. With that fuel issue up top, I don't want to lean it out. I don't want to kill that motor. I've already had enough problems with this car. So for the most part, I've been driving it around when it did work, just, you know, cruise it back and forth to work, things like that. Those runs were probably the hardest I've driven it since I put it back together. And Now we just need that fuel system, and that one will be good to go. And like I said, probably turn it up a little bit. I don't know how much that car is going to be on the channel, but kind of wanted to bring you something a little different on that one. And I'm probably going to bring in the, like I said, the other daily, and see what I can get figured out on that so I have heat, because it is December in Pennsylvania, and it's a little chilly to drive that car. So success on the Magnum went so well, I'm just going to jump right into the like the daily. I picked this up the other summer. It was one of those, I was already in the middle of a project, but with how bad we beat on the E46s on track, I couldn't really resist finding another. Like, I love wagons, that's why I have the Magnum and that. But this one popped up, and it's not clean, but it's a black interior car, which I can't stand tan interior stuff. Manual, 325 E46 wagon with, and it's all-wheel drive. So this was going to be my daily driver, not screw with it too much. Can't turn it into a drift car being all-wheel drive. So only problems with it is at the moment it has no heat. I did get AC working in it this summer, so that was great. Because it's got something like 260,000 miles on it. So this is kind of the life it's going to live, for me. It's just going to be daily beater duties type of thing. I do, which may or may not happen on the channel. I got to figure out timing and everything like that, but I do really want to paint it. I painted one or two other cars, simple basic paint jobs, nothing fancy. But I think this would look really good in like a nice yellow. So let me know in the comments if you want to see that on the channel. It's definitely, I want to get rid of all this, flaking, peeling paint on the hood. I already have a new fender for this side in primer. There's no reason to swap it on until, I do paint it. So, and I think I got some headlights also for free that I may throw in here at some point. So I'm going to dive into the heating issue and hopefully, get that sorted out. So it's actually, drivable over winter. It's a little freezing. It's a few days later, and I'm still trying to get a hang of what to film. But for this episode, like I said, we were kind of doing some daily stuff. And I know, pick up where I left off, the BMW here, clean up the wheels a bit, make them less dirty. But I did get heat back, and I did fix, so these are notoriously known for having cracks down here in this like accordion shape down there. And it was cracked on the bottom, which definitely was affecting how I was driving. And then also down here, if you can see it, that little bit right there, that is actually a valve for the heater core. So there is an inlet and an outlet, which allows heat to come out of the motor, go into the heater core inside the cab. I had a feeling that could have been part of the problem, so I ended up flushing the heater core. Didn't do anything, so I ended up taking that apart, and as I looked in it, it was stuck closed, so no coolant was going into the car. And then the plunger basically kind of broke off in it, so I ended up breaking it off the rest of the way. So now that is just being basically it's just there. It's not doing anything as a valve. So for the winter, that is good. I'll probably pull apart from a spare car when it gets nicer out, and I don't want any coolant and going up into the heater core come spring, summer. But for now, like I said, both dailies are up and running, both working good. I drove both of them this week. Truck, just doing truck things. Kind of haven't had to do much to that in the last year or two, and happy for that. And then that Honda's for sale, probably already sold. So I'm actually getting ready to head up to partsonlinenetwork.com. They're having me on for a podcast today. Today is Wednesday, so you guys, this video will actually go up right after I do my podcast, which is live. So I will probably put a link in for that, so you guys can go watch that if you want to. Probably be a little bit more in depth on the boat and my history and how everything has brought me to this point. So I haven't unloaded. I'm getting ready to head up there. Wish me luck. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and this is your captain out.